Hi, my name is Vina Tailor, and my systems thinking project is on women's pay equity. The workforce has significantly changed, and as more and more females enter the workforce, they need to be paid the same as men get paid. Instead, females today are still only earning 77 cents for every dollar a male earns. After doing research and conducting an in-depth analysis, I've sided with the pro argument for this issue. I believe women should be paid equally as men. To visualize this better, I have created a causal loop diagram for this pro argument. But before we begin, let's get some background knowledge on causal loop diagrams. The causal loop diagram has a lot of components. The very first are variables. Variables represent quantities and not necessarily events. Thus, every variable in the diagram represents something measurable and has quantity relevance. Within the loop diagrams, there are plus signs and minus signs to show an increase as well as a decrease. Loops are even categorized as reinforcing or balancing. In reinforcing loops, increases lead to additional increases, whereas decreases lead to additional decreases. Another way to identify a reinforcing loop is to count the minus signs. If a loop has an even number of minus signs, it is a reinforcing loop. On the other hand, a balancing loop occurs when an increase in the first variable causes a decrease. Balancing loops have an odd number of minus signs. Now, with some background knowledge on causal loop diagrams, let's see what a causal loop diagram for women's pay equity would look like. For my project, I have created two causal loop diagrams that are intertwined by the opportunities variable. One is a reinforcing loop with 5 variables where one variable increases the next and so forth. The 5 variables are opportunities, skills, salary, competition, and motivated females. The other loop, a balancing loop, is comprised with 4 variables such as opportunities, women competing, change salaries, and Paycheck Fairness Acts. Now, let's dive a little deeper to understand this. Looking at the reinforcing loop, let's consider the opportunities. When there is an increase in the opportunities for individuals to grab, their skill sets will increase as well. They will learn new techniques which will ultimately enhance their performance and efficiency in the workforce. This will allow for promotions and a salary increase. As salaries begin to increase and the job titles become more salary-based, the competition amongst individuals will also rise. This will push more females who are motivated to grasp those opportunities. Whereas the balancing loop runs a little differently. When opportunities begin to decrease, the number of women competing for these opportunities will drop. This results in a decrease in the number of changed salaries that there are. If women are not in the workforce portraying that they have the same skill set and the work ethic as men, there will never be a change in salary. As a result, this issue and the Paycheck Fairness Acts will continue to increase as more and more females push for this equality. Although I was unable to identify dominant loops, I also discovered a standard archetype. There are a variety of standard archetypes. There's limits to growth, shifting the burden, balancing process with delay, eroding goals, escalation, success to the successful, tragedy of the commons, and fixes that fail. My causal loop diagram embodies limits to growth. The central idea behind limits to growth archetype is that organizations need to proactively remove factors that limit their growth. All organizations that grow actively will experience this issue. In my project, the decline of opportunities will pose this problem. Now that you are a little more knowledgeable about causal loop diagrams, download Vensim, find a topic and issue, and begin your causal loop diagram today. Thank you.